out. Actually, okay. Song and the guitar. All right. We'll just check to see we're online. Yes, we are online. All right. Okay. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Dabi Paneshe Namudarati Madanaveshe Ahiskutavrina Vipineshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhavandaya Leke Nadita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Vishabhanudari Navashashi Leke Nadita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Hey Jaya Jaya Ma Sanatana Manita Jai Prabhupada, 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 Haribo, 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 Jai, Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Paravenkacharya, all Sateta, Satashi, Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya Chalana, Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem say, Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shidwaita Gadha, Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopikapanatha, Sai Mukunda Radhakunda, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Mathuram Ki Jai, Jagannathaswami Ki Jai, Munamaya Ki Jai, Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Putale, Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharni Vishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarni. All right, let's read the translation. O Radha, all glories unto you, all glories unto you, beloved of Madhava, object of worship for all the young girls of Gokula. You dress yourself in such a way as to increase Lord Damodar's love and attachment for you. You are the controller of Vrindavan, the pleasure groves of Lord Hari. You are a new moon arisen from the ocean of Kirtada and Vrishabhanu. And you are the friend of Lalita, and your wonderful qualities, friendliness, kindness, and faithfulness to Krishna endear you to Vishaka. You are an ocean of compassion, and your divine characteristics are described by the four Kumars, Sanaka, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumar. O Radha, please be merciful to me. Srimati Radharani Ki Jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Ki Jai. So, now we'll continue with our reading of the Jaiva Dharma by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And right now we're reading about the glories of the holy name. These are wonderful quotes from different Vaishnava and Vedic scriptures about the importance of chanting and the glories of chanting. So, Om Gana Timananda Shah. Garanjana Shlakaya Chakshur Unmiritam Yena Tasmai Shigadave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. Okay, Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Okay, so let's share the screen. Here we go. And put up the chat window in case someone has a heart attack during class. They can let me know so I can pray for them. So, like I said, we're hearing about the glories of the holy name from the Vedic literatures. The name of the Lord, by its nature, awards the highest goal. Skanda and Padma Puranas say, Idam eva hi mangalyam etadeva thanarjanam jivatasya palang jaitad yad thamado. Damodar's name, life, handles is the best among all types of bhakti. Now, Vaishnava Chintamani says, Gachit smaranam vishnor bhava shena sadyate Ushtaspandanamatrena kirtanam tu tatoram. Remembering Vishnu destroys sin, but it is hard to perform. Oh, so remembrance is hard to perform. Kirtan is better than that, since it is performed just by moving the lips. Easy. Wow. Vishnu Rahasya says, Yadapyara chaharim bhutya krite kratu shatayarapi palam prapnotya vikalam kalo govinda kirtanam. The result achieved by worshipping the Lord with devotion through hundreds of sacrifices in Satya Yuga is achieved completely in Kali Yuga by Govinda Kirtana. You don't do any sacrifices. Bhagavatam says, Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnum Tritayam Yajato Makai Dwapare Paricharyayam Kalo Tadari Kirtanat. The result was obtained in Satya Yuga by meditating on Vishnu, in Treta Yuga by performing sacrifices, and in Dwapara Yuga by deity worship, can be obtained in Kali Yuga simply by chanting about the Lord. That's Bhagavatam, 12th Canto, 3rd chapter, text 52. That's a famous verse. So in other words, each and every age has its particular dharma or religious performance. Meditation, sacrifice, and deity worship. And in Kali Yuga, simply by chanting the Lord's holy names. Kalera dosha nalei rajanasjiko mahadgunad. Kirtanaleva krishnasya muktu sangha paramrajet. This age of Kali is an ocean world. And there is one good quality. And simply by chanting the Lord's holy names, one can become Krishna conscious. Over Vijay Kumar, thinking about it, it is seen that chanting the name is superior to sat karmas, since sat karmas are just a method, and on attaining the result, the sat karmas disappear. In other words, okay, as we many times mentioned before, that sat karma, of course, means spiritual activities, yes, but most spiritual activities you don't continue, like yoga processes and things like that. Yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, jhana, samadhi. You don't continue when you get liberated. When you get liberated, you give them up. But the chanting of the Lord's holy name is both the sadhana, the practice, and the sajja, which is the goal. Which is what is mentioned here. The name of the Lord is spiritual, and though it is the essential method, is also the very goal on attaining the result. Considering again, one sees that all the angas, branches of bhakti, take shelter of the name. Vijay Kumar said, Prabhu, I have full faith that the name of the Lord is spiritual. I should understand the tattva free of doubts. It means the truth of the name. How can the name be spiritual if it is composed of syllables? Please be merciful and explain this. So this is a typical question we get from people, that the name is composed of syllables, mundane letters, syllables, different intonations. So just like using those same syllables, I can make something else up. I can go na 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 na. That's one syllable. Nama, ma ma ma. Or even the word krish. Krish. Krish means to attract, so it can be used in a mundane sense, or even in a philosophical sense, not indicating Krishna. For example, that Bhagavad Gita verse, Krishigot Shivanijam, Vaisha Karma Svabhavajam. The Vaisha's activity is taking care of cows, protecting the cows, and karmas. Krishigot Shivanijam. Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam. So that's a reference to someone who plows the land like a tractor. And na can mean what? Na. Like no way. So na. So anyway, so you could have these two syllables of which the name is composed, and they appear to be material. And you put them together, it becomes spiritual. What's happening here? Okay, we'll find out. Babaji answers this objection. He said in the scriptures it said Namachintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigra Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukto Abhinatwang. The name of the Lord designated name are non-different. The name for us means the taste of a relationship. Complete, pure, and eternally liberated. Oh, internet connection unstable. Wait a second. Okay, now it's back. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 17:133. The name and the Lord designated by the name are not different tattvas. They're not different categories. Because of this, all of Krishna's spiritual qualities are in the name. The name is always complete tattva, complete category. There's no material contamination in the name. It is eternally liberated since it is never bound up by Maya's gunas, that means illusory modes of nature. The name is Krishna himself, a form of spiritual rasa, taste. Since it is Chintamani, that means a desire stone where you can ask anything from the stone, like the Midas touch or something like that. He can give to a person whatever he wants. So if I had a stone, where's a stone? Let's say I have a stone in my hand. This is not a stone, this is a camera. So if I had a stone in my hand, I said, I want prasadam. Would do the offering for me. Kumar said, how be on this particular question? Answer: name does not take birth in the material world. Jiva, a spiritual particle situated in its pure swarup, is qualified to chant the name of the Lord in its spiritual body. A jiva bound by Maya in the world cannot chant the pure name using material senses. But by the mercy of Ladini, when one swarup functions, the name manifests in one. So in other words, we're chanting the name. But the point is, until we become pure, we're not chanting it purely. So it doesn't get revealed, or the name doesn't get revealed to us completely. We may not have a taste when we're chanting. We may, whatever. Our mind may wander and everything while we're chanting. So as one gets more purified, then the purity of the name shines through more and more. The purity of the name is always there. However, just like the sun is always there, sometimes there's clouds covering us, not covering the sun, but covering us. Okay? By the mercy of Ladini, that's the pleasure potency. When your swarup means your nature, you understand who you are, reveals itself, the name manifests in one. When the name manifests, it appears in the mental functions by the mercy of the name and then dances on the devotee's tongue, purified by bhakti. The name is not made of material syllables. Only when it dances on the material tongue does it manifest as material syllables. This is the secret of the name. So let me try to explain this a little bit more. The syllables that we have in the material world are reflections of the syllables in the spiritual world. Just because we have sound here doesn't mean that there's no sound in the spiritual world. In fact, there's more sound in the spiritual world. I was just listening to a memory And one devotee was giving about Srila Prabhupada, his encounters with Prabhupada. So he was on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. He's actually one of my friends. And he had the effrontery, it means the gall, the boldness, to run up to Srila Prabhupada and ask him this question. He asked Prabhupada, can Krishna sing? What a question. Can Krishna sing? Can he do something? Can he not do something? Anyway, does Krishna sing? And so Prabhupada first didn't hear exactly what was asked, and he said he thought that the devotee was asking, can Krishna see? And Prabhupada said, of course. You can see, he can see. I mean, that's a ridiculous question. And then the devotee said, no, that wasn't my question. The question is, can Krishna sing? And Prabhupada, he was probably thinking, this devotee, wow, what is he thinking of? And so Prabhupada replied, Krishna is the best singer. In fact, that's where all the singing comes from. Can Krishna sing? Krishna can do anything and does do anything and everything. So Vijay Kumar said, so in other words, everything we have here is there in the spiritual world in its pure state. There's language in the spiritual world. We have language here. There's syllables there. We have syllables here. But they're spiritual. So now, even if we use the syllables here in this world, if we use them to glorify Krishna, those syllables become spiritualized because the modes of nature it's a lady word. How would you like internet connection? That is stated a other question. Among Vijay said prime, which is sweetest? Wow. It is said in the Shatanama Stotra, Vishnu Rekaikam Namapi Sarva Vedadikam Tham Tadrik Nama Sahastrena Rama Rama Samang One name of Vishnu is superior to all the Vedic mantras, and one name of Ram is equal to 1,000 names of Vishnu. And we mentioned this in a previous class. In the Brahmana Purana, it is said, Sahasra Nam Nam Punyanam Siravrichyatu Yatpadam Ekavricha to Krishnasya Namaikam Tad Priyachati. One name of Krishna chanted once gives the result of chanting 1,000 pious names 3 times. There's no name as attractive as Krishna's name. Thus Gauranga taught the names Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. One should chant those names constantly. Vijay Kumar asks, what is the method of chanting? Babaji said one should constantly chant the name without offense on Tulasi bead, or if not available, by counting on the fingers. If one chants purely, one attains the result, prema. Actually, by chanting on Tulasi beads, it's more purification. I mean, the name is always pure. It doesn't change the nature of the name. But it's actually more purification because you're getting the mercy of a pure devotee. Tulsi Devi is a pure devotee simply by seeing a pure devotee, simply by touching a pure devotee, simply by hearing a pure devotee, simply by thinking about a pure devotee, simply by serving a devotee. Then you get all good fortune and your spiritual progress becomes accelerated. If one chants purely, one attains the result. Prema. Counting is done because the sadhaka does not know if he is gradually increasing his cultivation of the name. Tulsi is dear to the Lord. By touching Tulsi, one experiences additional strength of the name. Wow, there's the quote. By touching Tulasi, one experiences, and I'm just re-editing that because it had it in the singular, experiences additional strength in the name. Wow. So you get additional strength that you're experiencing from the name when you're touching Tulsi. That's why I chant on Tulsi. I mean, if I was somewhere that was really impure, I wouldn't chant on Tulsi. But keep the beads in the bead bag, and that's the reason for keeping them in the bead bag. Vijay Kumar said, Prabhu, there are 9 or 64 types of angas in sadhana. If one chants the name constantly, it is only one anga. Where's the time for performing other angas? Phew. Babaji said, what is the difficulty? That's a problem expression. What is the difficulty? So the 64 angas are included in 9 types of bhakti. 9 types are, chanting, remembering, archana, performing archana, service, prayers, making Krishna one's friend, and Vishnu Smarana, Achim Dasham Sakyam, Atman Nivedanam, and then ultimately surrendering everything to Krishna. If one hears, chants, and remembers the set of the name in front of the deity, cultivating the name has been accomplished. Where there's no deity, while one can practice all 9 types of bhakti in relation to the deity by hearing and chanting while remembering the deity. Where there's no deity, you can remember the deity. So the English is really difficult there. Where there's no deity, one can practice, you don't need while, all 9 types in relation to the deity by hearing and chanting while remembering a deity. Those who have special desire for kirtan of the name by kritis, that means devotional service, positive in the past, perform all angas of bhakti by constantly chanting the name. In other words, if you constantly chant Krishna's name, you are automatically performing all the other angas of bhakti, all the other branches of Krishna consciousness. Among hearing, chanting, and other processes, kirtan of the name is the principal sadhana. Sadhana, again, is practice. Even though other angas of sadhana do not appear while in the bliss of sankirtana, that is sufficient. Wow. Actually, it's kirtana, not sankirtana. But let's just say sankirtana, because sankirtana can mean congregational chanting, but it also means complete, absorbed, intense, pure chanting. So that's sufficient. Of course, one does have to fulfill the order of the spiritual master to chant 16 rounds, because otherwise you are committing offense against chanting, and then you won't be successful. Vijay Kumar said, what is chanting constantly? Babaji said, to chant the name at all times other than while sleeping and performing necessary bodily functions is called chanting constantly. In cultivating the name, there is no forbiddance regarding place, time, or condition. In other words, nam nam nakari bahudad nija sarvasaktish tatrapita nimata smarane kala etadrashi kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaivam idri shan ahani nanuraga. In other words, nam nam nakari bahud nija sarvasaktish. You've invested all your transcendental potency. Nimanishishtan, there's no question of time, place, and circumstance where you can not chant, where you're not supposed to chant. If you mercifully give us the power to chant continuously, we do not see any hope attaining the position of Vaishnavas. Babaji said, I explained the types of Vaishnavas previously. Gauranga said to Satya Khan that whoever chants the name of Krishna once is a Vaishnava. Whoever chants continuously is a better Vaishnava. The person who upon seeing makes one chant Krishna's name is the best Vaishnava. When you chant the name with faith, you have attained the position of a Vaishnava. So, of course, my experience with Prabhupada is whenever I saw him, the very presence of Prabhupada, precipitated my chanting. It just got me to chant. I was going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I just remembering Krishna chanting. Just being in the same room, seeing Prabhupada, it was an amazing experience. Vijay Kumar said, please explain the pure name and other types. Babaji said, when the name of Krishna manifests with dedicated bhakti and faith, it is called the name of Krishna. Obviously. Whatever else seems to be the name is called Namabhata, Nama Aparada. So in other words, when one is chanting with dedicated love and full faith, then it's pure name, it's Shuddha Nama. And otherwise, anything else other than that is called Namavash or Nama Aparada. Namavash means a reflection on the name. Like we've heard this Pratibimba expression, or Chaya, Pratibimba Nam, or Chaya Nam. And Nama Aparada means offenses against the holy name. Vijay Kumar said, Prabhu, is chanting the name the sajja goal or the sadhana or means? Now the Babaji has already explained that it's both the means and the goal. I mean, they're asking the same question again. I guess it's important because they're reiterating. When the name is chanted during sadhana bhakti, the name is sadhana. When the name is chanted in bhava or prema stage, it is sajja or goal. According to the condition of bhakti, the sadhaka, that's English again, English problem. According to the condition of bhakti that is manifest in the sadhaka, the name may appear in a restricted way or fully blossoming. Vijay Kumar said, is there a difference in knowing the name of Krishna and knowing Krishna's swarup, Krishna's form? And obviously there's no difference. So Babaji also says that there's no difference. There's one secret: the name gives more mercy than the form of the Lord. If one commits an offense against the Lord's form, the swarup, the form, does not forgive him. Like if you would say, criticize the Lord's beauty or something like that. But the name forgives both the offenses against the Lord's swarup and against the name. Phew! Understanding the offenses to the name, with care one must chant while avoiding them, since unless one is offenseless, one cannot chant the name. In other words, the pure name. On another day, this English here really needs to be edited. On another day, you can understand about the offenses to the name. Brajanath and Vijay Kumar, having understood the glories of the name and the swarup, the very form of the name, slowly took the dust from their guru's feet and returned to Bilva Pushkarini. That's where they lived. Okay, go on. Whoops, where's the rest of it? There we go. Offenses to the name. That night, Brajanath and their Tulsi beads, purely 50,000 names, 29 rounds, and went to sleep late at night. By chanting the pure name, they experienced, now they're chanting the pure name. Oh my God, so much advancement. Early in the next morning, discussing everything, they obtained great bliss. They spent their day in taking bath in the Ganga, worshipping Krishna, chanting the name, reading Dashamula. Dashamula are the 10 principles given by Babaji, and which is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's 10 basic principles. Studying Bhagavatam, serving the Vaishnavas, and eating prasad. Jai. After twilight, they arrived at the kutira of Babaji at Shiva's Angam. After offering respects and sitting, according to the previous day's proposal, the Jai Kumar inquired about the offenses to the name. With natural pleasure, the Babaji began to speak. It's quite interesting, because usually at the first initiation, not usually, always at first initiation, we mention the 10 offenses against chanting the name. So just as the name is the highest tattva, an offense to the name is worse than all other types of sins and offenses. All types of sin and offense are destroyed simply by taking shelter of the name. Offense to the name does not easily dissipate. Padma Purana says, Namaparada yuktanam namanyeva harantyagam avishranti prayuktani tanyevarta karani cha. For those who have committed offenses to the names chanted incessantly destroy this sin and will deliver them. In other words, that's the only method. If you've committed offense against the name, don't continue committing the offenses, obviously, but you continually chant. You chanting, praying, Krishna, forgive me. I've offended a devotee. I've been inattentive while chanting. I'm using the Mahamantra for some material purpose. I've offended some Shastra. So anyway, there's 10 offenses. If one chant the name itself destroys the offense of the person who committed offenses to the name. The method of destroying offenses to the name is difficult here. So, whoops. What happened? I'm going to skip to another screen. Okay. So, 50, it appears they received Diksha first and then started chanting Hare Krishna later. It is not mentioned how they chanted their 18-syllable Diksha mantra. So, in other words, they got Diksha before chanting Hare Krishna. And that's, I guess, because they were from a Brahminical family and they were actually quite pure, not simply a Brahminical family. The name while avoiding offenses. If one is careful to avoid offenses to the name, quickly the pure name will appear. Some person may chant the name with tears in his eyes, but if chanted with offense, it is not the name. If the devotees are not very careful, they cannot chant the pure name. In other words, there's some, at the same time they're chanting the name is always pure, but it's being obstructed by their impurities. Just like the sun is always extremely bright, but sometimes it's obstructed by dust in the air, sometimes it's obstructed by clouds, sometimes it's obstructed because it's on the opposite side of the world. And it's nighttime. Vijay Kumar said, Prabhu, what is the pure name? Babaji said, the name devoid of the 10 offenses is the pure name. It is not chanted with consideration of the syllables, etc. So, in other words, you don't have to purify the syllables. Okay. So, Namayakam Yashavacche Smaranapata Gatam Shrottamulam Gatam Ba Shudam Bashura Varnam Vyavakita Rahitam Taratya Heva Satyam Tache deha dravina jana takloba pasanda madye nikshiptam chanda palajanakam shighram ivatra vipra. Anyone who chants, remembers, or hears even one name of the Lord truly surpasses pure or impure caste without obstacles. But if the name is given to offenders among the Pashandis greeted for body, objects, and following, it does not give its results quickly. It takes a long time. Padma Purana 4:25-24. The meaning of this verse is this. O Brahmana, if the name appears on a person's tongue once, or if he hears it or remembers it, it will definitely deliver the person. The purity of the name's syllables or impurity of syllables, or not pronouncing perfectly according to rules, are not considered. But if the name endowed with all Shaktis falls among the stone-hearted people attached to body, house, money, and followers, it does not quickly give results. So it depends on the purity of the chanter, even though the chanter may not pronounce it completely properly. For example, if you're in China, you don't have that R like Krishna. Krishna, you be Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna understands. Of course, if you're able to pronounce, you better do it properly. Sometimes we find devotees mispronounce the name because of laziness. One time, I think it was a devotee chanted like Hari Quispa, and Prabhupada said, "Who is that Quispa?" There are two types of obstacles, ordinary and great. If there is an ordinary obstacle, the name will be Namabhash. Slowly the name gives results. Namabhasmi is basically, again, a reflection or a shadow of the name. If there is a great obstacle, the name becomes Namaparada, offensive. It will not be destroyed except by incessant chanting of the name. Incessant means continual chanting of the name. Some scriptures give purification rituals for the syllables of mantras, but not for the holy name. There's no purification rituals. Vijay Kumar said, I see that the sadhaka must know about Namaparadas. Please explain the offenses to the name. Babaji said there are 10 offenses to the name mentioned in the Padma Purana. Satamnana namda paramam aparadam vitanutte yatakyatim yatam katam usahate tadvigaram Shivasya Shri Vishnoryahi Hagunanamari Sakalang Diyabinam Pashetsa Kalu Harinamahitakara. One who criticizes devotees commits the greatest offense, because how can the name tolerate criticism of those who have spread the glories of his name? One commits an offense if he considers Shiva, his name and qualities, to be independent of Vishnu. So this is actually the first two offenses. To offend the devotees of the Lord who have dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord. Number two, to consider the name or the names of the demigods like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva to be equal. We consider them to be equal to or independent of the holy name of Krishna. First two offenses. Next offense is Guror Shruti Shastra Nindanam Tadartha Vada Harinam Ni Kalpanam Nam Nao Balad. Whoops, what happened to the mouse? Yeah. Huh. Lost my mouse. I can't move. I can move, but I can't move the screen. What happened? we go. Got it. Anamno bala yasha hi papa here. Navidyate tasha yamarhi suti. Disrespecting the guru, that's the offense. Criticizing the scriptures are offenses. That's the fourth offense, blaspheming the scriptures in accordance with the Vedic version. It is the offense to think that the glories of the name are exaggeration. That's the next one. Or to give imaginary meanings to the name. That's the sixth. One who commits sin on the strength of the name cannot be purified. That's the seventh offense by following the rules. Dharma vrata tyaga utadi sarva shubhakriya samyam api pramada ashadadane viuke uncape yashrinte yaschopadesha shiva namaparada. Thinking that the chanting of the name is no greater than following Dharma, ritualistic activity mentioned in the Vedas, like that's the eighth offense. Practicing vratas of renunciation or performing sacrifices or other pious acts is madness. Eighth offense. Giving instructions of the name to those who are without faith and with no interest in the Lord or the name, who actually do not hear the name, is an offense to the Lord's name. That's the ninth offense. Shruti natmye apriti rakito nada annamadi paramo namni sopyavara yaparada krit. The low person who, after hearing the glories of the name, is still without devotion and is greatly entrenched in concept of mind, commits an offense. Of course, that's the 10th offense, which Prabhupada explains is maintaining material attachment, even after understanding studying instructions matter. The same thing is mentioned here. Low person who, after hearing the glories of the name, is still without devotion and is greatly entrenched in the concepts of I, mind. That person commits an offense. So, in other words, one is not offensive simply by having material attachments or being greatly entrenched in concepts of I, mind, but one is offensive by not trying to clear those things away. So either you're stagnant, which means you're going backwards, basically, or you're moving forward. So with that in mind, we're going to step and take some questions, and tomorrow we're going to hear the answer to this question where Vijay Kumar says, please explain each verse so we can understand the offenses. So there's going to be further elaboration and unpacking each of the offenses so you can understand them better. Okay, with that in mind, we're going to stop sharing. And, hold on. Whoops. Hold on. That's interesting. It's acting up a little bit. Okay, got it. So, let me allow you to unmute yourselves. You are now technically allowed to unmute yourselves. And I just want to chat window. Okay, Sam, you have a question?
Hare Krishna.
Oh.
My question is it okay to chant on Rudraksha beads because Lord Shiva is a devotee?
Yeah, I mean, it's not an offense to chant on Rudraksha beads. However, there's much more benefit chanting on Tulsi beads. Lord Shiva is chanting Ram Nam. He's very attached to the name of Lord Ram. So I wouldn't say it's an offense. I mean, one could chant on regular beads too, just ordinary wood beads. When we first joined the movement, we didn't have Tulsi beads. We didn't have like Indian dress like kurtas or even gopi chandan for tilak. So we had to make do with whatever we could get together. And so the beads were actually just regular. We used to go to the craft store, craft where they sell craft items, things for building and things. And there were always these wood beads there. And we had to string our own beads. And that's how we all basically took initiation and chanted. And you see devotees in the early days with these big red beads around their neck. So I would say that any type of beads that are clean, you can chant on. However, there's infinitely more benefit when you can chant on Tulsi beads than any other type of beads. All right? Hope that answers that question. Is that all right? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Next. Okay. Yeah, there's no offense. I mean, Rudraksha beads are uh, very dear to Lord Shiva, and yeah, I mean, we don't offer Rudraksha beads to Krishna, but any form of Tulsi can be offered to Krishna, but not Rudraksha. Okay, who else has a question? You can type in the chat window, you can raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself. Anybody else have a question?
Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances.
Okay, so what's the question?
This question from yesterday's class, Gurudev. You said yesterday that Lord Narayana's name is considered to be primary name, even though it means the resting place of all living entities, all jivas.
Yeah, yeah, because it also refers to Narayan in the spiritual world, even though
How
the
about
name technically means what?
No, sorry.
about
My
what?
question is, how about the name of Lord Jagannath?
That's interesting because Jagannath, I was thinking about that too. That's the question that I had in my mind. The Jagannath, in one sense, can be understood to be a secondary name because it refers to the Lord in relationship to the universe. But when you're chanting in reference to Lord Jagannath with Baladev and Subhadra in Jagannath Puri, then the name refers to Krishna, who met the gopis and the other residents of Vrindavan and Kurukshetra. So that's a very specific thing. I actually thought that out yesterday because as I was giving class, I was thinking of Jagannath. So the name Jagannath, depending on how you're using it. When I say Jagannath, I'm not referring to Krishna in terms of being the Lord of the universe. I am referring to him in terms of being the brother of Subhadra and Balaram in Jagannath Puri. And that's a very intimate pastime. Jagannath is feeling separation from Vrindavan. Lord Jagannath is actually Krishna in Dwarka, and he's feeling separation from Krishna in Vrindavan. So in that particular case, or that particular context, to say Jagannath is a primary name. So
The way
yes.
I have a bit more clarification to that. Like the way I thought it out yesterday was because Lord Balaram's mom, I think, she came to the Dwarka and she was explaining Lord's pastime to the queens up there, and Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadrama was listening to it, and that's how they become the form took place. So it is still a primary name given that respect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's Jagannath is Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra. That's good. Yeah, that's good. That's the same thing as I just said. Because when we talk about
also
Jagannath,
explain,
Lord Jagannath, in that particular context, he's Krishna and Dwarka.
but you also explained that he is also in the battlefield, like the Lord Jagannath. So when the gopis
Lord
went
Jagannath,
and
I don't say battlefield. He went to Kurukshetra, not to fight, but when there was a solar eclipse, then Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, the three brothers and sister, they met the residents of Vrindavan who also came to Kurukshetra. This is before the Battle of Kurukshetra, at the time of a solar eclipse. You
Did
can read about
that.
that. You can read about that in Krishna book. So that's the
Yes,
same
yeah,
Jagannath.
yeah. Lord Bhishma also came up there. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, that's the same Jagannath. And that was before the Battle of Kurukshetra. So they met Kurukshetra because Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is a holy place. And it was a holy place even before the Battle of Kurukshetra, and it's still a holy place. Okay?
Yes, okay.
All right, so anybody else have a question or comment? If not, we can end 1 minute early or 2 minutes early. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much, and we will see everybody tomorrow, same time, same station. All glories to His divine grace.